welcome to another episode of Comic Talk. You probably noticed that the set's a little bit different, and it's been a while since we've actually been on camera here. So we're going to try not to sound like complete noobs, although that probably will happen.
Probably will.
So anyway, here we are. We got Rob Goyer, Chris Mills, Ken Lee, Wayne Demers, and Tyler Hamill. We are the team that's going to bring you into 2018 comics here. So let's get underway. What are we talking about?
First, we're going to talk comics.
Comics?
Marvel comics, I think.
Marvel. All right. Yeah, I've never heard of them.
We're going to start with the Infinity Countdown.
Yes.
This is all going to be leading up to April's Infinity War movie.
Yep.
Rob, you want to start us off on Infinity Countdown?
The Infinity Countdown starts us off with first issue was Adam Warlock. He finds out that something's going on. He doesn't know what yet, and it's a little bit of time travel. Little crazy stuff's happening, but pretty much the Infinity Stones are popping up in random places of the universe and galaxy, and now there's a power struggle to control them all.
I kind of feel like you buried the lead there. So Adam Warlock's back.
Yes.
Because he's been gone for a long time.
Yes.
And he hasn't been in any of the movies, right?
No, he hasn't been in Marvel at all for decades. Probably since the 90s.
The end of the last Guardians movie.
2.
Yeah, so that was a reference
right.
to him, right?
Yes.
It's assumed that it's Adam Warlock.
He makes, was that when he appears in the cocoon? Is
Yes.
that what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yep.
they say I've built the perfect being, and it's the cocoon. It has to be out of Warlock because he is the perfect being in the universe. But yeah, it starts him off, and it's far into the future, and he's going pretty much at the end of his life. He gets saved before he actually dies. That's why we haven't seen him in a while, is because he's presumably dead. But apparently he's not now, and now he's going back in time to where all this stuff is going to be starting out.
How's he getting back in time, though?
Who was it? Khan the Conqueror?
King?
Kane?
King.
King the Conqueror.
DeLorean.
Yeah.
It's actually DeLorean inside of a TARDIS.
But yeah, it's a very, very interesting start to things, and I assume that lives will be lost, power will be won, and crazy stuff's going to happen with this one.
Yeah, I think some people will be coming back too, right?
Yeah.
We saw Regular Man Logan at one point holding one of the stones.
That's
Regular
right.
Man
That's in the Prime issue.
We have to
is that
say
a canon name?
Yeah, I think
it's going to have to be.
I think I read that somewhere.
I'm looking for that title now. I'm watching out on our pull list.
I thought the collector was holding some of them safely.
Who's holding him safely?
Was his name the collector?
The
In
Collector.
The movies. In the movies,
Oh,
right?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
this is
okay.
the movies. This is the movies. This is
Yeah.
the
But this
current-
is a countdown
This is-
too,
We're
right?
talking comics here strictly.
Yeah.
in the comic
We're-
universe.
Yes.
It's a bit different.
This is the
Yeah.
countdown to a new beginning.
This
Yes.
is why everybody's happy I'm on this board.
Yeah.
Because if you're watching
why
and
I'm
you're
here.
like, man, I'm confused
Yes.
between the movies and
So
okay,
don't think about the movies.
I'm not thinking
pretty
about
much-
them anymore.
When did the Infinity Wars come out?
I mean, it must have been
That
the 80s.
6-part.
Yeah.
It was the 80s. So
Yeah.
right now the MCU, it's going off 80s, based off 80s storylines.
Okay,
So right now in the comics, they're far ahead of that, and
so it's just coincidence that
Now
we
it's
have
just
yet another
coincidence.
Infinity
No, it's
countdown
not. It's not
when we
coincidence.
have this
No.
movie coming
It's
out.
very clearly a marketing, coordinated marketing attack.
Okay.
No.
they say countdown because we're like, oh, the movie's coming out soon.
So
I'm gonna buy
everyone's
this
now
comic.
aware.
That's exactly
okay.
what I was thinking.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
No, just marketing ploys.
Yeah.
Damn, they got me.
Yeah, and it looks like we're not looking at a glove this time. In the movies, we're talking about the Infinity Gauntlet. Everyone's
Yeah.
very much aware of. It looks like they're making some kind of helmet. It looks like it's going to be an Infinity helmet. So who knows what
all
who knows
the rage.
who's going to wield that and what they'll be able to do with all the stones together.
Now, do we know who has all the stones?
We do. I think there was a page in one of the books showing who controlled each stone.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they presented in this weird, like, kind of infinity looping chart where it showed each stone and said in order for you to be able to wield one of the stones, you had to master the power of, like, the previous stone behind it. I didn't really understand, didn't really follow it. I'm being totally honest, it was kind of confusing.
Hopefully they'll
There's-
explain more as we go
I think
forward in the
there's
story.
up to 10 comics all the way out to July
For
for
Infinity?
this, for the countdown.
Cool.
Okay,
So,
so we get a
That's why I
few
saw
months
the
of
schedule.
enjoyment here.
yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Looking
very
forward to
cool.
it. Yeah.
You know, the Super Scroll is actually a holder of one of the stones.
Yes, I did. I saw that. The Super Scroll.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Anyway,
Okay.
that's that's Infinity.
Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see on that one and see how it plays out.
Very cool. So I think there was some hoopla about some Amazing Spider-Man first appearance.
Yeah, there's been a lot of waiting for this Red Goblin to appear. And this guy's been teased for at least 3 issues that I remember, and every issue we've been buying them and waiting to see him appear in this. And
Who's been buying them?
everyone I've been buying a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure other has because it's been sold out here most weeks.
Yep.
But they've been teasing this character, the Red Goblin, and the reason why everyone's kind of getting excited about him is because he's another mashup character. He's a mashup character of the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, and the Carnage symbiote, and probably something else too. Back in the previous Amazing Spider-Man run, they injected Norman Osborn with these nanites into his bloodstream, and this prevented him from turning Green Goblin. And just recently, in the I think it was Spider-Man 796 or 797, he merges with the Carnage symbiote, and the Carnage symbiote basically purges his body of the nanites and allows him to transform into the Green Goblin again with the Carnage symbiote. So
He's a Goblinite?
he's Goblin sans nanite.
Okay.
He's infected.
He's infected. And so, obviously, these are two iconic Spider-Man
Yeah.
villains,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Green Goblin,
Big time.
Carnage. The mashup characters seem to be all the rage right now in Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, people have been looking forward to this, and this has been the big reveal for a real long time. It's been leading up to Amazing Spider-Man 800, which will be, I believe, Dan Slott's final issue on the run. And Dan Slott's been writing Amazing Spider-Man for the better part of a decade, probably.
What a way to go out, though, on an 800th issue.
Not
You know,
bad.
They love to really, gin up the excitement over these big milestone issues. So-
And possibly iconic villain introduction as well. I mean, way to
Yeah.
put your stamp on the series, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you have 2 really big villains in Spider-Man Universe, right?
Yeah.
So you have, would you say it was Carnage, and you have the Goblin, right?
Mhm.
So now that they're mashed up, what's your opinion on the result? Is he that?
Well,
is he what you hoped for?
It's hard to judge, and this is the reason why it's hard to judge is that we actually haven't seen him in his full glory yet. We've seen Osborn merge with Carnage, but they actually haven't fully manifested into Red Goblin, and he's never actually appeared in his Red Goblin form. And this is the most craziest part is that he's actually appeared on the cover of 2 comics already. He's appeared on a design variant for the previous issue, which was 798. And a store exclusive on 796, and he actually hasn't appeared anywhere in the book. So the reason why this is causing a lot of heads to explode is because we don't actually know. It's never been shown that Norman Osborn plus Carnage is actually going to be the Red Goblin. It might be someone.
It's just an assumption.
It's just an assumption at this point, right? And everything, all the signs are there, but it could be just a crazy head fake, and they could be it's someone else, and people will lose their minds. So stay tuned on Amazing Spider-Man. It's gonna be a crazy ride up to 800.
Absolutely. Speaking of crazy rides, let's go on a cosmic one.
Oh yes,
I see what you did there.
Thanos. Thanos currently rebooted. Well, not rebooted. They started with a new creative team.
Yep.
Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw, who last year they did a mini-series called God Country. That if you guys remember, if you guys watched the videos back then.
Yep.
Loved it and couldn't say enough good things about it. They're back. They're doing Thanos. This run is insane. And one of the reasons that it's been such a success is a new character. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, another mashup character, the Cosmic Ghost Rider. And it's basically Frank Castle's Ghost Rider. But it's not the Frank Castle, the dour, PTSD, real dark Punisher Frank Castle. This is like I've gone mentally insane and I'm kind of crazy in a Deadpool quippy kind of way. Punisher. And he wields the cosmic power of the Ghost Rider. And
My wife thought he was already insane, so I'm not sure if that's going to compute to her if she watches this.
he's like a different level of insane. Like he went from scary insane to like the funny, violent insane.
Yeah, right. Funny, violent.
Funny violent, not like scary violent.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of that in this world.
So this has been a great series altogether. There's been another character they introduced. It's the Silver Surfer. He comes back as the Fallen One, and he challenges Thanos, Thanos of the future, and Cosmic Ghost Rider to a battle. And in the last issue, we see that he's worthy of wielding Thor's hammer.
Huh.
So there's that. There's a Silver Surfer with Thor's hammer. So yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going in on Thanos. You haven't checked
That's
it out. It's sold out most places. Been a really popular run. It's been gone back to, I think, the first issue, number 13, is right back on its third printing.
Yeah.
14 is going to the third printing. 15 is going to the second printing. 16 just came out. It's an awesome run. I just can't recommend it enough, obviously.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk, since we're out there in the Milky Way, let's depart a little bit and talk some Star Wars. Let's get Wayne in this conversation a little bit here. Wake up.
So, Thrawn was released, what was it, maybe 4 weeks ago? Thrawn?
So Thrawn, hopefully everybody knows who the Thrawn character is. Maybe
So,
you can fill us in.
I don't know who Thrawn is.
Thrawn is, you're going to put me on the spot here. I think
am.
he's like a Grand Admiral type thing. He's
for the Empire.
He's up there, yeah, he's up there. He's pretty much a
But not
very,
yet.
very smart, well, not yet. Not in this issue of Thrawn. What we're getting, we'll get to Star Wars Rebels in a little bit, where that's probably where a lot of people are familiar with Thrawn, or if you read the Timothy Zahn book, Thrawn, which this comic book is actually based on that novel. So what we're getting to learn is where Thrawn came from and how he made his way into the Empire, and how he made his way up the chain. He's right underneath like Grand Moff Tarkin. So he's very, very intelligent, very tactical. His thought processes are very sound. So where we know where he's going to end up as far as how his main role in the Empire. What we're getting with Thrawn is his journey there. And I have to say, for the first issue, I gotta say, first couple pages, I was like, oh, ho hum, this is kind of like Star Wars DJ story. So
Come on.
I'll get to that in just a second. But I thought it was ho hum. And then next thing you know, we have the Emperor there. We have reference to Anakin Skywalker. We have reference to Darth Vader. And I'm just like, oh, wow, where are we going to go with this? How does he know Anakin?
How is it ho-hum when this guy, all right, he's
Why
like
is it ho-hum?
stranded on this planet,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
he's just picking off crazy amounts of Imperial troops, all right?
Yeah.
They're going off on these, like, dropping them like nothing. I mean, how do you call that ho-hum? That was really cool, first of
'Cause
all, how they introduced, and then he allows himself to get captured because his plan all along
Was to
is to
meet the
be
Emperor, right?
conscripted, basically.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. I mean,
And-
picking off Imperial troops is not really big deal, right? It's pretty standard affair.
I mean, I suppose,
Thank you.
but it's one guy though. One guy on, several. I mean, it's.
I'm just saying, it's that fodder.
I know. The,
I just
the
feel
movies
like
have
that
made a
story-
joke of the stormtroopers. I understand, but,
But you nailed it, right? Because how many times do we hear that story? The Empire just gets picked apart. And then somebody rises up either through ranks or to power, and I just felt like, ho hum. I feel like I've kind of felt this storyline before, but it's
then-
not until the characters start to come before. Like you don't
Right.
just see any character come before the Emperor. Usually you can kind of see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect him to really come directly before the Emperor and be able to hold his own. Sometimes characters, when they're in front of or share a whether in screen and cinema form or even in cell format in a comic book, they can't really hold their own against a really big character. Emperor is one of the big characters. People know his backstory. They know he's evil. They know, now that we've had the prequels, we also know his beginnings. I felt like, wow, man, this guy is holding his own. Like he's gambling with his answers to questions posed by the Emperor. And we know that Thrawn is a strong character. So to see him in some way manipulate, in my opinion, and we haven't seen the full story, but manipulate the Emperor into giving him the shot that he wants, I thought that was pretty cool. And that's where it really started to hook me.
Yep.
And, the story, I think some
and how
of
he uses adversaries all along the way
yes.
to further his agenda. And it's, it's the start of a wonderful story in my
So all of that,
but,
we just talked about 4 minutes on one issue.
Yeah.
One issue.
All right, so what else you got for us?
What was it? Star Wars DJ.
DJ, you made reference to DJ. All right.
Wicked.
Oh man, so DJ is a character that came from the last Star Wars movie, Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Surprise cameo.
And,
Bye.
What the heck is his name? Not Del Toro. Del Toro, right?
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. So I'm not against having big name actors take a role that may be not so significant, because quite honestly, if you look at Alec Guinness in his time was very, very well known. Okay, not for anything to do with sci-fi. So even as I hear it, even he wasn't too big on the film as far as what he expected out of it. So, but anyway, he was killed off fairly early. Nobody knew that there was going to be a, episode 5 and 6, the next 2 sequels, But so I'm not beyond that. So did he do a good job in the movie? Yes. A lot of people don't like his stuttering. I didn't mind it because I felt like it's a character. Most characters that we see in movies don't have like a little stuttering quirk or whatever. So I thought it was a different take on it.
Yeah.
But I felt as if you could pull that character out of the movie, you still can get to the end, and his story doesn't hold much value. Now, I could have said the same thing about Alec Guinness, right, as Obi-Wan, but we then in the subsequent movies see that he has a big role. So I'm hoping that his character comes back in, maybe the next sequel.
All right, so let's try to bring this back, though, to the comic.
So his story, the comic is really just the story of how he gets to the point where he's introduced in The Last Jedi.
Yep.
And so what did I think about it? I thought, okay.
Thanks for the info.
A little underwhelmed here.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. So take it, if anything, I hope anybody watches this isn't like, oh, he's such a fan of Star Wars, he loves everything that comes out. That's not me.
That's fair. Wayne does have a discerning eye for these things. I won't say that it was the cash grab that Star Wars Droids one-shot was.
Well, at least you know what? I did not. Oh, Droid.
Horrible. The Droids one?
I didn't read it.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, that was the worst. Don't ever buy that one. All right? But,
Yeah.
no, I felt, we needed more of this character. We needed to know a little bit more. And I'm glad I got a little bit of exposition on it, personally. Because I want to see this character, as you say, come back into the film. But I'd like to see him exist a little bit more on the page, too. So maybe we get a little bit of a tale. I don't know how well it sold, but maybe we'll get a tale of what happened after he left that planet and after he sold out his, allies of the moment.
Yeah, he seems like he could very well have that Lando type, character arc.
Yeah, exactly.
A little
so
redemption story.
I would like to see where that goes. So, is there anything else in the Star Wars page?
So there's still Star Wars going. I don't know. That I don't actually read issue to issue to issue. I buy them. Mm-hmm. I put them aside because I like the covers from JTC, John Tyler Christopher. So I have all of them. issue number 40 did not have a action figure variant cover by him. You had to have purchased that through John Tyler Christopher's release, his own, what would you call that?
His own web store.
Yeah, his own web store, right? He commissioned himself to do it. So that was the saving grace, quite honestly, because as it's rumored out there that there was a clerical error at Marvel Comics, and that's why there wasn't a action figure variant that was released. And luckily, JTC was able to have one for the 40th, so that's the only one you could get. So I don't keep up with those until they're released in volume form, hardcover. So when that comes out, but anyway, Star Wars is still going. Darth Vader is still going. Poe Dameron is still going. There was a one-shot that came out with, I forget the name of it, but it was Luke and Leia. That is out. We're getting Star Wars Adventures, which is to a younger audience.
From IDW.
From IDW, right.
IDW is doing a lot with Star Wars film titles right now.
Right. To which I have them, but I just haven't been able to get into reading. It's geared to a younger audience, so it's tough for me to buy into.
What else is IDW doing for Star Wars?
They're doing Star Wars Adventures. They had a 5 to 6 issue each one-offs of each female character.
Oh yes,
where you got a little bit different story from each one, and the last one was Rose and her sister from The Last Jedi. So we got to see more of the.
See, Hera is the one I wanted to read.
Yeah,
and
Hera
I have
was
it.
one.
I haven't read it yet. And Rose I'd like to read because she's another character that I thought was completely a throwaway character for me. But, we're not here to talk Star Wars, so I'll keep it at
that character.
I mean, we are here to talk Star Wars. But
I'm here to talk Star Wars, but...
Did a lot of stupid things in the movie, but we're not here
we're
to
not
talk
talking
about
about
the
the
movie.
movie. Yeah.
So
we already did that.
We've done that ad
gotta
nauseam.
watch the other episode.
Exactly.
So,
watch the
we'll
pop
talk
culture
about...
video for that one.
We'll talk about Darth Vader in the future. We'll talk about Poe Dameron in the future if there's really nothing else to talk about, because he's one of my least favorite characters.
For the Darth Vader comic right now, there's a bounty on his head.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten caught up with that, but that's what I know, and I'm interested to see what's going on there.
All I know is if you didn't catch the first Darth Vader series, please go out and pick up the trade paperback, or you can buy it in volume hardcover form. That was an amazing series. Really, really liked what I learned about Darth Vader. And since it's all canon, I love that the stories, the things that we learn between movies. The latest Darth Vader series picks up immediately following episode 3. Matter of fact, the first couple pages of the first issue is him coming right off the table. So Darth Vader coming right off the table. So this has been another yet amazing series. And if it were me and I were over at Disney and they were talking like, hey, what kind of movie would you like to see? Why are we doing Han Solo? Why are we not doing a Darth Vader series?
'Cause that's what the people want to see.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard. It's
Solo.
hard to set a franchise around a villain.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right? It's like kind of. I'm not sure if that's
But
really the image that.
How many villains are there out there that people love? I mean, I would like to take away the horror film.
I was gonna say like the
villains.
Predators. And
Yeah, because there's the Jasons, right?
I mean, they're not really villains. They're just
Jason's
Misunderstood
a villain.
heroes.
yes.
In another light.
So you take that away, and I just feel like, I mean, yes, there's Alien, right? Okay, but that's a species.
I do
As
love them.
Huh?
So
Yeah, I know you do. I remember you telling us all about that. So anyway, I just think there are a few villains out there that people actually find endearing. And the more and more and more we find out about Darth Vader, he really should not be so endearing.
He's not endearing.
I think
But
people...
no, that's why we can't make a movie about him.
No, I
But
think
the only
it's-
real action we see of him, besides the short moment in Rogue One, is in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to actually see him in action,
Yeah.
fighting,
that tiny
Him
glimpse in
and his
Rogue
most
One.
violent.
yes, yeah,
That tiny glimpse in Rogue One, to me, I've said it before, every scene with Darth Vader in Rogue One, to me, kind of saved that film. Okay, because just when I was just about to like kind of give up with the film. Boom! You drew me in with Darth Vader.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, pick up that series. If you're not reading it, pick up that series.
Real back in.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
we need to have Chris. We need to have our own Star Wars series.
maybe we'll work on that.
Okay.
Just Wayne just talking Star Wars, ranting Star Wars.
Wayne's ranting Star Wars. I like it.
So we've got a couple titles that have Moon involved that we'd like to talk about.
Oh, sticking with the cosmic thing, right?
Yeah, we're gonna stick with the right. We're getting back to Earth though, but we have to pass by the moon for that. So Moon Knight is the first one.
Character.
That is a character.
Yep.
Often considered to be a low-grade Batman knockoff.
I mean, a way better version of Batman than his.
I'm Batman.
Oh, my parents.
I mean,
I was trying to figure out like why.
I mean,
is
no
Batman
offense to
whining?
Moon Knight fans, because I'm actually loving this book.
I'm loving it too.
The last run of Moon Knight was horribly disappointing. Went nowhere.
I wouldn't say it was horribly
It
disappointing.
started off kind of.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I would say
Like-
it wasn't. It didn't. I
It
felt
didn't
like
wrap up.
yeah. It didn't feel like it had enough room to actually like breathe, actually get to where it needed to be
Yeah.
before it wrapped up. It felt like
Fair.
it just kind of got cut off at the knees.
Yeah.
It really presented some really interesting ideas and really cool things with they did the panel layout and art, but they just didn't have enough time to kind of like deliver it. But this
starting him out in a nut house was quite appropriate.
yeah,
But speaking of nut houses, that kind of enters the equation into this
Yeah,
storyline as well.
More or less the same way.
So
So it was great because it wasn't like sometimes when they bring in new creators they change out the storyline. This actually continues right after the Lemire and Sorrentino's run on Moon Knight, which kind of makes that transition easier.
Yep.
And I think what Max Bemis is doing right now, I mean his scripting for the story is just much tighter.
yes,
And he brought in a new. Moon Knight's got a new baddie to fight.
yes.
Tyler. Oh, not Tyler.
Oh no, not me. I just look like him. Patient 86. We haven't gotten too much information about who he actually is, but that's kind of the mystery that follows the first issue of this new arc. Is that the psychiatrist is working with this patient, and they don't really know much about him. Just that he was formerly military, and his old platoon was completely wiped out by a raging fire. And she has her own kind of obsession with Moon Knight and all the psychological issues that he was dealing with, and she kind of tried to use some of the method for that, helping him deal with his issues to help this patient, and inadvertently helps him identify with Ra, and thereby gains all the powers of Ra in the same way that Moon Knight gains all of his powers from Khonshu. I can never pronounce it properly.
Khonshu?
Khonshu?
Khonshu, I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, so, and then by the end of the first issue, Patient 86 has a complete manifestation of fiery powers given to him by the God of the Sun, Ra. And from there, just he, formulates various plots and plans that deal with gathering other kind of crazed mercenaries. Not to get too deep into it, but
It's a pretty good wrap up.
He really is. He has this look on his face half the time where you're just like, this guy is like almost acting like this very benevolent.
Yeah, he seems
totally
very
just,
nice.
like, happy to be there.
Like,
He's a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
Like he
Always has a
makes
smile
you
on his
feel
face.
Good, but he's absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he looks like he's got
Totally
that crazy, insane look on
Yeah,
his face.
yeah.
The burnt hands don't help his
Yeah,
look
no,
either.
that definitely. It's a little bit scary.
But
Clearly,
it's very sinister.
Clearly,
and
he's not protected from his own power, but it's been pretty good so far.
Yeah, a couple nice little twists there as well with Mark having a daughter. Was it a daughter?
yeah, that was
Well, so
kind of.
Mark has multiple personalities. And apparently, one of his personalities has been fooling around behind his own back with his lady, and they secretly have a child. So yeah, there's that. That got thrown in
Don't
too.
let the right hand know what the left hand's doing.
There's some weird stuff.
Yeah.
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 So it's still a crazy, insane Moon Knight.
Yeah. A psychological mess
Yep.
that keeps you drawn in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Definitely pick up that series. It's wonderful. But now we have a little bit of a warning for you, and Ken's going to give you a little bit of detail on that.
This is another Moon book. We're talking about Moon Girl, number 28. And this book came out 2 weeks ago. And at the time, it came out with a little fanfare. And then a well-known speculation site dropped an article about a first appearance of a new villain on it. In the article, they mentioned who this villain was, a character named Omnipotentus. It's basically the way that the Silver Surfer is the herald for Galactus. Galactus is the herald for this guy. So this guy is like a galaxy eater. It's like big cosmic entity. And people saying, okay, well, you know, in Cosmic Marvel, he could be important in the future. Also, this is a very, very low printed book. Moon Girl, on average, they estimate around 7,000 copies per month, which is not a lot. So within a week, this book was trading on eBay for upwards of 40, 50, probably like $60 with shipping.
Yep.
And at that time, there was maybe only 5, 6 books listed. And obviously everyone who saw this ran out to the shops, raided the shelves, and flooded the market. And now the book is sitting at about $15 to $20. This is in the span of 2 weeks. This book released 2 weeks ago. Just as a warning to people who are getting out into like comic book buying as far as speculation, thinking that you can take a book and flip it over for money. It can be done, but just be careful. Be very careful with new books. Something without a proven track record like this, there's going to be people that got burnt paying $50, $60 for this book, and they probably won't be able to see a return on that for probably years. You know, they're banking on a movie appearance, they're banking on the character become popular, which are all pretty long shots. So be careful what you do. A lot of people are going to tell you what's hot and what's a good buy. Just be careful with your money. And yeah,
Pay
that's
attention
all
to bloggers and find out what they're buying, because they usually go into shops and buy out every copy of something that's really hot.
That's like exactly the opposite of the fun.
Got him.
It's this guy. It's you, isn't it?
Bottom line is, I think that anyone out there prospecting, if you're just in this business just to
Yeah.
prospect, it's not advisable from my perspective. I mean, go into this because you love stories and you love to be entertained. And you know what? And sometimes your wallet's going to get a little entertainment too, because you'll find just this awesome hot book that you just happen to pick up because you thought the artwork was cool, you know, or a character grabbed you.
That's how
You know,
that's how I got the issue 21. Actually, 21 of Totally Awesome Hulk was, I just read it for this. Like, I wasn't overly interested in it, but I picked it up, and now how much is that going for still now?
I mean, it's like $40, $50 book.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people, there. I think the reason why this book got so hot is that there have been a few books from Marvel that came out that have been popular. Weapon H was one of
Yeah.
them. The Cosmic Ghost Rider was another. And these are books that, you know, they appreciate and value
I think I
very
have one,
quickly. A fan of the Ghost Rider?
Because I've been following Thanos from its new release.
Yeah, the number 13 is like a $50 book right now.
Had no idea. It's
So-
probably sitting unprotected in a box at my house right now.
So people, I think, are seeing that. They're very eager to jump on the next thing. They're very much afraid that they're going to miss on something big. Yeah, just be careful. And the reason why I say this is that I don't want someone going out getting burned on something like this and then falling out of the collecting, being just thinking that comic collecting is nonsense, is just, you know, a scam and people are ripping each other off.
Right.
Just be, you know, just be a smart consumer.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yo, Joe.
So I think with that, we want to go into the future of Marvel here. What's coming up with... All right, we have Legacy, and now all of a sudden,
Reboot.
Reboot.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Are you for real?
Yeah, here we go. Marvel Fresh in May of this year. Marvel
Breaking
So-
news for Wayne,
so-
apparently.
Look how mad he is.
I'm not mad because I don't get into nearly as much as other people, but I have to say, when I came into, you remember I came into the shop maybe 3 years ago, right? And at that time it was the reboot of DC,
Rebirth.
getting ready to go into Rebirth,
Yeah.
right? Didn't they had just rebooted already, and
Yeah,
now we're going into
New
Rebirth?
52, yeah.
Rebirth.
Right. And now you tell it. Oh man! So now Marvel's gonna buy into this too.
Well, to be fair, Marvel's
Marvel
rebooted like
started
every
it.
year.
Yeah.
This has been a constant thing, and
Yeah.
we're going to be rebooting a lot of the main titles: Avengers, Amazing Spider-Man, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor. These guys are all going back to number ones, and for a lot of these characters, they're going back to their original, the original character. So, Thor's coming back to the old sun, although now he's wielding like a shovel and a gold arm. Oh no, he's not shovel.
Well, didn't we just do a whole series of books where the current meant the past character?
Yes, the legacies. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And now we're going back.
Yes.
It's like it never happened. That's not the comic you were looking for. It's not the story you were looking for. Star Wars reference. So now that's what we're doing?
Yes, this is kind of what we're doing. So, obviously, okay, Marvel's going, they're saying, hey, we're going to bring these back. But the real reason they're doing this is that they want to sell number ones, right?
Of course.
They want to sell number ones. The whole...
all
This is the early 90s all over again.
It's so bad.
Yep.
And they went back to Legacy in September. We were talking about 6 months ago. We decided, hey, we're going to go back to Legacy numbering. This is what our customers want. This is us, Marvel, going back to the way things were, back to the Marvel you knew and loved. And they sold us a bunch of milestone books. Amazing Spider-Man's going to hit 800. Avengers is probably going to hit 700. Cap's going to hit 700.
Yep.
Spectacular Spider-Man 300.
Yeah.
They had all these books that hit these milestone numbers. Sold copies of those, and now they're going to reboot number ones, so they can sell a bunch of number ones because number ones sell.
So whose fault is that?
Because I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
They know it works. It's because we buy into it. Maybe if we didn't fall for these types of things, and we supported the books during times when they weren't throwing gimmicks at us. Maybe they wouldn't do this.
I understand what you're saying in spirit, yes, but you're really hurting your business, I think, by recommending this approach. I don't think... Perhaps boycotting...
Buy all of the comics.
Yeah, perhaps not a straight boycott is in place, but maybe just, reading the stuff that's actually good.
Yeah.
Just don't let it change your buying behavior. That's all. Just, you exactly. Read what you read,
Don't let them continue arcs that are garbage.
I mean, bottom line is, I think at the end of the day, what we care about is, as readers, is quality and continuity.
Yes.
Those are the things that I look for.
And great lenticular covers.
All right.
Yes.
Chrome.
Yes.
Yes.
So some of us do
shiny.
like the gimmicks, the bells and whistles, but that's the bottom line. As long as the numbering to me is annoying, but at the same time, as long as they're not discarding the stories that preceded it, and we're telling stories that match up with the history that they've given us so far, I'm kind of okay with it.
I'm okay with it too. I would have rather them...
In the end.
I would have rather them do a ghost numbering system where they can go back and say, this is number one of this, but we'll keep the legacy numbering, because the whole point that they tried to push for that legacy launch was that the numbering is important.
Yeah.
For them to kind of turn around on it so quickly it just makes it seem like it was a gimmick. Yeah, it just feels like it was them revealing that this whole thing was gimmick, and
cash grab.
And in fairness,
it
though,
should be.
I think it's because there's a change of the guard with the entire editorial board at Marvel.
That's true.
So that was the opinion of the people who are in place as of today, but they're leaving. And so the new editorial board coming in, I'm not going to name names right now because I will get it wrong completely, but they have a different mindset, apparently. And that's unfortunate, because it looks like Marvel's being inconsistent, but these really, it's a small cadre of people that are making these decisions.
Yeah, I think we want consistency of our books. Like, if there's one thing that we crave as readers is have consistency. And Marvel just has shown that they have not been able to commit to any one direction.
Yeah.
So it's tough as readers, because we just really don't know which way our comics are going to go in. It's hard to get invested in some of these titles, especially when so many of the titles that we get invested in get canceled.
That's right. I mean,
good ones,
and there are some good titles being canceled. I'm going to cherry pick a few here because they relate to a certain individual at Marvel who is going to be making the jump to another big company, which will not be named yet. Brian Brian Bendis, who was behind the awesome Jessica Jones series, as well as the Defenders book, which I couldn't believe after, was it 11 issues?
Yep.
Yeah.
11 issues of Defenders. Gone. And it's like, it's been one of the most
Excellent.
entertaining books.
I just read the first volume. Excellent book.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just sad. You're like, why is this being canceled? Well, the creator's going. And they're ending the storylines, and I'm sure we're, you know, don't fear, I'm sure we're going to see a Jessica Jones book again real soon. We're going to see another Defenders book again real soon. I don't think it was for lack of sales that these are being canceled. But we have Brian Bendis, who is a big creator and has been behind so many books. Oh, Spider-Man, right?
Yes, he
Miles
created
Morales.
Miles Morales. He was the architect of the Ultimate Universe.
Mhm.
He was the mastermind behind the Guardians of the Galaxy, the new lineup that launched the movie that brought that group into relevancy.
Yeah.
This guy has had runs on basically every character in the Marvel universe. Bendis has written once.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why I decided to leave. I mean, after you've written everybody, where do you go from there?
So are
Yep.
you saying that Miles Morales is ending as well, or no? Just that this creator's moving on?
The career's moving on. I'm not sure whether or not... I don't actually think Spider-Man has been announced for a new series, so that might be ending as well, at least for in the short term.
A lot of my books are ending.
Yeah. Yep.
I hope Miles Morales is not ending. It's one of my...
Well, again, I
Yeah,
think
it's
that
one of
even
my
if it
favorite
does
stories.
end, it's an artificial ending, and it's going to just restart again soon.
Right.
So I don't think anyone has anything to worry about. You know, these characters aren't going away.
I'd like to see them actually call it Miles Morales Spider-Man. And we've had Peter Parker Spider-Man. This would be a great way to just transition and have Miles Morales Spider-Man.
I like it.
Okay. Send me a check for that idea.
Hire this man.
Miles of webbing Spider-Man. All right, anyway, I'm just going to go
Miles
shoot myself
Morales.
now after that joke. Let's see.
So, took me a second.
Yeah.
All right, so Bendis, actually, this is a good opportunity for us to move into a little bit of DC talk. So with Brian Bendis moving into DC,
It's not
here
gonna
we
make it
go.
any better.
This is where he's going. This is his new home, and the DC House of Ideas just got a big, talented
Maybe he
mind.
can make DC interesting.
So maybe he could. Well, specifically, he is going to be, drumroll please, on which book? Ken?
Okay.
Man of Steel.
Oh, look at that. No, I'm not going to read it.
They're giving... bringing Bendis into DC, and they said, you know what, we're
Is
giving
it
you the keys to the
Nightwing?
penthouse.
Maybe. But
You would have... I mean, you can't bring a man of his talent and not put him on the flagship book. There was talk about giving him Batman, but Tom King's run on Batman has been very well received and probably the bestseller out of all the DC books right now.
Mhm.
And there's a big fan base for the Superman and Action Comics. Action Comics also going to number 1,000 next month, which is huge. But they wanted to give Bendis the keys to Big Blue, so they gave him a Man of Steel. It's going to be his playbox to do whatever he wants with Superman. I thought it was kind of interesting. In preparation to this, they canceled a lot of the Super books. I think Super Sons with John Kent
Yep.
has been canceled.
No big loss.
Supergirl
Yep.
has also been
She's
canceled.
gone.
So they're basically cleaning the table for him and saying, like, listen, you're going to write Superman for the next generation, and they're going to build the rest of that Superman universe around his title. This is huge. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for him to
Super
get there.
responsibility.
I haven't read a Superman comic in, I have to say, a few years, but I am going to be reading right from day one, just to see what Bendis brings to the table. So, guess they got me.
They got me.
So,
I'm not going to buy it, but I might read it just to see.
He'll
Just,
just-
It has a
he's going to
lenticular
treat
cover,
this shop
I'll
like
buy
it's
it.
a library and just read it here.
It's Man of Steel,
Working
so
on it.
I'm guessing it's going to be Chrome at least.
Oh, I would definitely on that one.
So what else do we have under DC? Let's talk Doomsday Clock, because we have so much to talk about. Oh, wait!
we don't.
Delays!
Let's talk about metals.
Are we
Oh.
on 4? Is it issue 4 for Doomsday Clock?
Doomsday Clock, I believe we're on
Maybe
5.
5.
Mhm.
So we are waiting for the final issue of. Oh no! Wait, no, I'm sorry. Doomsday Clock.
Doomsday
Metals
Clock.
were on 5.
12.
Metals 5. I think
Doomsday
we're
Clock
at
only on 3.
3?
No, 4. Oh, yeah, maybe.
I think
I believe-
Next one will be 4, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
has been how long in the offering?
So Doomsday Clock has now moved from being a monthly book to a every other month book. So that means we'll see the issue 12 like sometime, I don't know, like 2 years.
So it should be retitled Father Time brings you Doomsday Clock.
Are they doing tie-ins? Is
Doomsday
that why,
Clock,
or
but
is
the
it just?
batteries are dead.
Yeah,
I don't know
what's
why.
up?
You know, they haven't said why. We're assuming that it's just the scripts. They're having a problem with scripts. They're having a problem with the story. Problems, maybe delays with the art. Mostly, usually when there's delays like this, it's script problems.
Isn't
Sounds
it
to me
a
like
little
we'll
bit
be lucky
ironic?
to get to number 12.
Forgot to
Story
set my
just
clock.
died out.
Maybe that should
a
be the
title
rename.
that like kind of like is supposed to give you this feeling that time is running out is taking so long.
This is kind of ironic.
Irony.
Yeah, it's
Some
like
irony
it's
here.
a Doomsday Clock. Oh wait, we got like 2 years now. We're good.
They're really stretching it out. They're really worried about it getting
Doomsday's
zero.
coming, but you got plenty of time. Don't you
Doomsday
worry.
Sundial.
I'm seeing the Austin Powers scene where he's in the slow-moving steamroller, and the guy's just like about 50 yards away from him, just screaming like
Get
he's
out of
gonna
the
die.
way!
Just move. Anyway, that's Doomsday Clock.
I mean, this
What else we
what
got?
really blows my mind is that this should have been. I mean, this was obviously planned out years in
Yeah.
advance. I mean, this was supposed to tie into Rebirth. They've had years to work on the storyline. How is it not out on time? It just blows my mind. And it was like, this is DC's big flagship event. It's them supposed to bring back the Watchmen to the continuity. This was such a huge, momentous book, and it seems like they're kind of just fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
And it's really disappointing because I've enjoyed
I
it.
blame it on the movies. Just because. I'll blame it on the movies.
It always comes back to the
Blame it on
movies
Zack
for
Snyder.
Wayne.
So now Zach, somewhere Zach
It's not,
Snyder
it's
is
not,
crying
Zach's,
in
not
the
Zach's
pillow.
problem. I'm not going to throw that ball there. I'm not going to throw that there. That would be, no. That'd be
The delay in DC Metals, Dark Knight Metals, I probably blame probably on Snyder. I'm guessing he probably has delays in scripts, which Snyder has been known to do. Would not be the first time that a delay has actually affected the release of another series. DC had planned a whole launch of new books. The New Age of Heroes, they labeled it.
Yes.
That was supposed to spin out from the events of Metals. And we've already seen a handful of them.
Damage.
Damage, which was the Hulk, basically the Hulk.
Yep.
Basically.
Silencer.
Yep, Silencer, who was like kind of a, I guess, closest analog would be, Black Widow? Like Black Widow Punisher?
Maybe something like that.
Some kind of running, she
Yeah.
guns. Spy. Yeah.
Terrifics.
Terrifics, yes, the group of Mr. Plastic, Mr. Terrific, Mrs. Something, I forget who the,
Can't remember the names.
yeah, she's new, I think.
Hmm.
And Metamorpho.
Metamorpho. Yes.
And actually, I thought that was a pretty entertaining book. Jeff Lemire, Ivan Rice, subtitle. And Sideways.
Sideways. I knew I was forgetting one.
I like the art in Sideways. It's definitely a book geared more towards younger audiences, like a teenage crowd, but solid artwork. We got a bunch more that's supposed to release. Just to name a few: Mortal Men, Tinian, and Chimley, which is going to be awesome. Curse of Brimstone, New Challengers, which is going to be Scott Snyder, and I think Adam Kubert, and The Unexplained. So we still got a few more of that coming out, but they've already released 4 books,
Yep.
and Metals hasn't ended.
Yep.
And they directly reference Metals in these books, and we have no idea kind of what's going on. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
It feels
their
very much-
timeline's a little
Do you remember?
skewed.
Remember when we had Secret Wars? Marvel did his last Secret Wars, and
Yeah.
kind of did
Oh.
the same thing when it supposed
Yes.
to reboot into it's like all new, all different,
Yep.
or I forget. I think it was all new, different after Secret Wars. And Secret Wars kept getting delayed, but they went ahead and just like launched their new universe.
That's
It
right. That's
feels
right.
a lot like this,
It was
and
about 3 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah. That was terrible.
And
Terrible marketing on their part.
this feels like if the publisher doesn't
Strong,
care,
too.
why should we care? So basically, you're
Yeah.
saying Metals doesn't matter.
Right. Exactly. Well, I don't know. That's kind of disappointing. Can we talk about something that might be positive in the DC world?
I mean, I really like Metals. It's not. I'm just
I
saying.
yeah,
I mean,
but
that,
we're kind of putting a negative spin on it.
I'm
right
putting a
now.
negative spin
Metal-
on it because
Metal
of
has
delays.
been good.
It's
but-
been a good read.
Yeah.
Just get your
But-
shit together, DC.
Yeah. Don't drop the ball when you have a good thing. That's 2 right there. 2 potential fumbles. All right. We also have Raven, I believe. I think that Rob wanted to
Yes.
talk Raven.
Oh yeah, 12-issue miniseries, Raven, Daughter of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
You see the new side of Raven. She's away from the Teen Titans, and she's living with her aunt and uncle. Her mom is gone, and we all know who her dad is.
Yep.
So she's trying to live life normally as a normal teenager. She has found normal friends from school, and she's trying to... The first issue, you see her trying to figure out how to socially interact with them. Like, oh, they're doing that, that must be normal, I'll do it too. So it's her trying to adjust to normal life, but it's Raven, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stuff is going on. One big aspect of this storyline is going to be Merlin. He's back, and to the second issue, it's Azar is there. It's one of those crazy characters that causes hallucinations in your head. She can't speak, so she speaks to you she puts stuff in your mind that you just see and go crazy. So Raven's just trying to figure out what's going on, why people are after her, and the story's going to continue after that. But it's just a different side of Raven where most of the comic text bubbles are actually in her head. It's her figuring things out. So it's very, very interesting read. I'm just a Teen Titan fan. If I'm a fan of DC, it's anybody involving the Teen Titans.
Same thing.
Those characters.
I grew up on the Titans.
I think it's a generation thing.
Yeah,
That
probably.
me and Tyler have with Teen Titans, but it's just one of those things where something caught my eye out of DC for once, and I'm going to read it.
Actually, I was reading the previous Raven titles as well. I've always been a Raven fan, which is one of the few things I do like from DC, but I was really excited about this. I want to see where it goes.
All right.
I
There we go.
I
So
can't say too much nice about DC. I start to get like rash my throat. It's not,
Well, obviously that's kind of cool that DC can pull in a couple people who are generally anti-DC people here with the title. So there is something for everyone out there.
Ironically, they were
Under
doing it with
every
Metal
publisher.
too, and they were like, "No, we're gonna
So
get these bloody Marvel fans out."
we're also going to talk about a couple indie books too. So we have a new Kirkman book out.
We do. Just Invincible ended, and I guess he just needed some other epic to keep writing on.
Yes.
So we have Oblivion Song out this week.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sold pretty well, actually. A lot of people were asking about it. I mean, how do we sum up the story, you think? We get a little bit of some kind of multi-dimensional...
Yeah, there seem to be multiple worlds that... it seems like there was some kind of event that happened and people got sucked into this other world and they were just murdered in mass.
Murdered in mass, or at least, it seems like the government is kind of playing around with the idea of, like, allowing this group of people to go over and try to rescue.
Other
But now
people,
they're cutting their funding, and basically, I think, just trying to say that they're dead.
Yeah.
Let's not, we're giving up the fight, basically, to bring them back. But there's this one guy who's, he's just not going to give up. I guess his wife, I believe, is still over in this other dimension, and so he's got a dog in the fight, basically, for this. So
so he's going rogue. He's using
going
he's kind of going on the black net and finding ways to plug in and get himself into this world. And he still goes and explores, but I think he can last. He can only be in there for a limited amount of time before they have to pop back out.
That's right. And the way he pops out is like, it was kind of weird. It was like, there was a scene in the early part of the book where I thought he was attacking a person that he was actually trying to save, because he, I believe, shot the person with some kind of a dart.
There's been like a tracker that could pull him out of that world.
Exactly. And so I thought that was kind of an interesting little aspect to it. So, and then, but Yeah, that seems it's only one issue in, so we'll see where the story goes. But
The writing was solid. I thought the artwork was the artwork was serviceable. Some of the faces look a little silly.
that was my problem with it as well.
Yeah.
I would call it serviceable as well, but I did not like the facial work at all in the.
It was a bit cartoony for a book like this. I felt like they could have gone a little more of a more realistic route with it, but
Absolutely.
I'm not sure what kind. I'm still unsure what kind of book this is going to be. So we'll
That's
see.
true. Yeah.
We'll see. Maybe the story will change and it'll fit the tone of the art. But right now, they do seem like they're kind of out of step.
Yep. Second one we want to talk about is Gideon Falls. Now,
Yes.
actually, of the two, so looking at Oblivion Song and looking at Gideon Falls, I'll tell you right now, Gideon Falls grabbed me right from the get-go. I am super excited about this book. Again, another one we're one issue in.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. I guess set up a little bit with a priest being assigned to a new parish.
It seems like we're going to have two interconnected stories, and one of them
Okay.
involves this priest that's coming into a new parish.
Yep.
And the other story involves this guy who seems genuinely crazy. He rummages around the city and he just digs through trash. And his story in this issue is being framed through his visit to his psychiatrist. And we learn that this guy has been basically been committed.
Yep.
And he's currently kind of on parole, and he needs to keep checking in. But this obsession with digging through the garbage has obviously been a thing that's he's been doing in the past as well, because his doctor says, listen, if you keep doing this stuff, I'm gonna have to bring you back in.
Mm-hmm.
But our main character, is convinced that the city is telling him something, and that he is finding clues, that he's pulling bits and pieces, and typically the stuff that he's finding is either shards of wood or nails. And he says he finds them scattered along the city, and he's starting to realize that they're appearing in patterns, and then he can actually predict where he'll find his next scrap of this thing is. He just doesn't know what it's coming from.
Right.
And eventually we find out at the end where it comes from, and this ties back to the father that shows up.
Yes.
And still, we really don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on. I will say the artwork it's a phenomenal match to the tone of the story.
Agreed. It's Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. This is the same creative team that did Old Man Logan. So if you remember that,
Not regular Logan?
yeah, not regular Man Logan.
No.
Geriatric Logan.
Yeah. Where is Logan?
OML. So these guys are obviously a fantastic creative team.
Mm-hmm.
The tone of this book, really creepy,
Yes.
really disturbing, a lot of psychological craziness going on. It's just a cool book right now. I'm definitely in.
Absolutely. Anything else in the indie world that we'd like to discuss?
Extremity finished. That's a book that I've been reading since it was one of my surprise favorite indie titles of the last year. I was pretty bummed to learn that it was a 12-issue series, but issue 12 came out last week. It just finished, and it was fantastic. The art of the book was really driven by its art. It's super violent, super just energetic, just a ton of just dripping with character and style, and it was super violent, but it was an anti-war book. And it was basically about these two warring tribes and the children of the leading factions. The main character, Thea, is the daughter of one of the leaders, and she's this artist, and she's like the best artist in her tribe. And the other group comes in, and during one of the battles, they take her drawing arm, and she can no longer draw. And it's basically her journey to overcome her loss, overcome her pain, and find some way to reconcile and stop this war between the two tribes. And it's super touching. It's a beautifully drawn book. I couldn't recommend it enough. It's going to be out in 2 trades. Read it, Extremity by Daniel Warren Johnson. It's a great read. Check it out.
Awesome. I think we have one more, right? Are we talking Sandman here?
Just some quick news. We had it was announced last month that Neil Gaiman's Sandman Universe is going to be given a extended universe. So they're going to be releasing, I believe it's 40 books. None of them are in the fall of this year. None of them are going to be written by Gaiman himself, but he is going to handpick the creative teams, and he's going to oversee the production and the direction of these books. So I'm super excited. Sandman's probably my favorite comic universe of all time, of ever. So
Awesome.
just knowing that there's going to be more of it, I'm happy as a clam.
Yep.
And clams are very happy.
Apparently Clam's happy. I've never understood where that came from. Anyone else read Sandman? Any other Sandman fans here?
No, I have not.
No one's read Sandman. Greatest comic ever written.
Wow,
That's
saying a lot.
bold. That's
That's-
quite a statement.
Okay.
This is coming from a guy who reads a lot of comics.
He reads the most comics of our entire group.
I
So
don't know if anyone can tell
100%.
that. Like, I'm pretty sure he reads more comics than the rest of us combined.
And if you want proof of it, just check out his blog, The Crank File, where he makes all the picks every week, what you should be looking at potentially first, and usually gives good advice. So
Check it out.
So check it out.
Advice.
Absolutely.
I take good advice.
Every Tuesday.
So we thank you very much for watching. And if you're interested, we're going to be doing a pop culture video. So click on over on YouTube to that one when this airs. Thanks a lot, guys. Until next time.
Peace out.